First of all, welcome to Newsfighters. Planet America's been off since November.
Yes.
Will there be much to talk about
since then?
Yeah. When's the show coming back?
We have a special because inauguration is happening at 3 a.m. We think it's not a smart idea to cover that live, so we're doing a show on the night before, and then we're doing a show on the Friday after, and then after that, it's every week on Friday.
When are you going to sleep between the show but the night before and the show on the Friday?
If American politics is anything like it's been for the last few weeks, I won't be able to sleep during that two-day period because I'll just be in a fetal position, rocking back and forth.
So are you coming back with the two show? You're going to have the Fireside Chat this year and the regular show as well, and the podcast. Are you doing all three?
Definitely doing the podcast. That's the most important bit, I hope you agree.
Yep.
But the shows are just going to be on Friday. We're not going to do the Wednesday show because the Wednesday show is ABC TV, and I don't think they were necessarily convinced that there would be a mass market for American politics in a non-election year. Now, I think they're probably wrong, but having said that, I've decided to go get a dog, so I'm happy to not do two shows a week this year. We'll just do the news channel show on Friday, and the rest of the week I'm going to play with my dog.
Can I guess what sort of dog it is?
I think you can.
Is it a whippet?
You got it. For those who don't know why you hit it spot on, I've been obsessed with whippets as long as Dylan's known me. In fact, I've been obsessed with whippets since I was 14. There's something for a shrink there, but I just love whippets, and I've had all these reasons and some would say excuses why I couldn't get a whippet. But finally, all the dots have all lined up in a row, and I've finally bitten the bullet and got myself a whippet.
Yes. And great to hear the podcast will be coming back. Congratulations on 50 episodes. Now it's changed names. Do you want to talk us through? It was called. Now this is just an extracurricular thing you do. This is nothing. Yeah. This is in no way connected to the Planet America TV show, correct?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Even though when we started it, we called it the Planet America podcast. I assure you, it has nothing to do with Planet America because the ABC, who own the Planet America name, have told us that we're not allowed to do a podcast. So, therefore, it's not the Planet America podcast. Now it's PEP, which doesn't stand for Planet Extra Podcast, which we also called it at one point in time, because they own the word planet as well. It's just PEP. It's just it's about invigoration as much as anything else. That's all.
I had no idea ABC owns the entire word planet.
Well, let's put it this way. They threatened to take me to court based on the ownership of the word planet. Now, I could challenge it in court, but I prefer just to call it PEP.
I assumed it would be in the ABC's best interest to have extra marketing for the show, but clearly they don't want that.
You would think that, Dylan, and I know that you have some stories, and I certainly have some stories about the ABC. They don't necessarily work in their own interests all the time. They work in mysterious ways, like the Lord.
And there was something I heard you talking about on PEP. I can't remember exactly, but I think you guys touched on, and we'll get into the American politics stuff now, I guess, which is Trump's legacy. Now, there's something I thought about this week, which was George W. Bush's legacy has got more rosy with time. Yeah. Now people remember him for combating malaria and fighting AIDS in developing countries. And even someone like Nixon, people go, oh, he started the EPA. So even these deeply flawed presidents sometimes have a non-controversial kind of universally admired legacy. I cannot think what Trump's will be. Can you think of anything 20 years from now people might be, oh yeah, Trump did something good?
I actually do think that Trump will be rosined as well, rosined. Just like the rest of them. I'm not sure he's ever going to reach like the same kind of pet status that George W. Bush has for Democrats under Trump. Yes. But I think that he'll definitely be seen as better than the current guy in 10 years' time. And the reason why is there's a couple of things. In terms of things that he has achieved, well, at the very least, they came up with a vaccine under him for COVID. That's one thing.
Sure.
depending on what happens with climate change, the one thing which hasn't been talked about enough, including actually by us, to be honest, is there's been a lot of stuff happening with nuclear power under Trump. No one ever talks about. And if it ever actually happens, if it ever actually comes off that we do get a proper alternative energy structure with lots of solar power and lots of wind power and lots of nuclear power, it's probably going to be because of the technologies that were fast-tracked under the Trump administration, which didn't bear fruit for another 5 or 10 years. But the main reason I think people look back on him, well, I didn't say positively, but more positively than they are now.
They do now, yep.
Yeah, is because I think the guys who are coming after him are going to be much nastier and much smarter. And I think your Josh Hawleys and your Tom Cottons, those kinds of guys are going to do the populism just like Trump did. But the difference is, and they're going to do the racism, and they're probably going to do the militarism as well. That's one thing which is different, which I think people look back fondly with Trump. He doesn't want to start wars.
True.
He's not going out of his way trying to start wars. And I think Tom Cotton is going to go out of his way to try and start wars. If he's the next president, people will look back on Trump fondly in that regard, I think. And I also think just the fact that Trump talked the talk a lot, but all he really wanted to do was get lots of likes on Twitter. That's all he wanted. Because some of these other guys, they're going to want to achieve some things that I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy with. So, yeah, I suspect that we will look at Trump with rose-colored glasses as well.
And then on the Democratic side, Biden's cabinet's slowly been leaking out, and I'm amazed that all his competitors, except for Mayor Pete, who got the prize role of transportation secretary, Yang, Klobuchar, Bernie, Beto O'Rourke, none of them got a spot in the cabinet. Is this a case of him trying to keep your enemies away, so they don't get any limelight the next 4 years and set up Kamala? Or
well, I think part of the problem is that a lot of them are senators, and he needs every senator he can get at the moment because he's got a bare majority. So that's the first problem. I still think, actually, to this day, I said this on the podcast at the end of last year, and Dr. Dave thought I was insane. But to this day, I reckon if they had either gotten a proper majority or they had missed out on the majority, then I reckon he would have made Bernie Sanders, he would put Bernie Sanders in his cabinet. But having said that, because he seems to have a very strong relationship with Bernie Sanders, like a personal relationship, but he just can't afford to lose any senators at the moment, especially a lot of these senators are in states with Republican governors, so they would be replaced by Republican replacements. So he can't afford that.
Someone like Beto O'Rourke. Beto, I just saw, is going to teach at University of Texas now. He hasn't got a lot on Beto.
That is true. It seems to me that Biden basically, I'm not sure it's that he's trying to exclude the people he ran against. I think it's more the case. You look at the people he's appointed; they're all his old mates from the Obama administration. I think Biden just wants people he can trust. That makes sense. He's in for a tough 4 years, I think. So it's nice to have people who he can believe in. I should say, by the way, Andrew Yang, I don't know if you know this,
yes,
is already going for mayor of New York.
I was about to get to that. Did you see the launch video to launch his campaign? This is how dystopian America is right now. It was directed by Darren Aronofsky, who did Requiem for a Dream. It's like the middle of winter in New York and everyone's wearing masks saying, "Please save us." It's very, very dystopian campaign launch video.
It is, but that's Andrew Yang's style. He's always been a little bit ambivalent between being mega pessimistic and hopeful at the same time. And I actually think this is the best thing that can happen to him. I think he'd be much better being the mayor of New York than transportation secretary. Yes. That's genuine leverage for another presidential run, say in 10 years' time, if he pulls it off. And let's face it, Bill de Blasio is not the most well-loved mayor, so he's probably in a pretty good position.
But is it a poison chalice? I researched, I don't think any New York mayor's ever become president. Is he just setting himself up to be the next Rudy Giuliani here?
Well, it's possible. I mean, I hope for his sanity's sake that he's not the next Rudy Giuliani. Let's face it, there is only one president every 4 to 8 years, so the chances aren't great. And if you're not going to be president, being mayor of New York isn't a bad. That's not a bad fallback. So I think he's looking okay.
And in terms of, so we've got Biden's inauguration this week. We'll all be up late. The next 4 years, any surprises we're expecting, or is Planet America going to get very boring all of a sudden, or is there some big things we should be keeping an eye on or looking out for?
American politics never ever gets boring. I can tell you that. There's the crazies are always there. They never go away. I think that we can almost certainly expect the Republicans to win the House in 2022 at the very least, possibly the Senate as well, but that doesn't matter. Just the Congress is all they need. And when they do, the debt ceiling is going to be due sometime in that 2-year period. I would expect the Republicans do not allow Biden to. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, America has a strange situation where when they have an arbitrary amount of national debt they're allowed to have, and at some point in time, they just say we're not paying it back anymore. Not unless you pass a bill to raise the debt ceiling. We've reached the amount of debt. We're not paying it back anymore. That doesn't mean you don't owe the money. That just means you're not paying it back. And if they hit the debt ceiling and the Republicans don't let them lift the debt ceiling anymore, I'll tell you what happens. The entire country goes into default. And if the entire country goes into default, then they're going to lift, interest rates will go through the roof. The whole place will be a massive recession, like a 2008 style recession all over again. The whole place is going to go nuts. And the Republicans will, if they're being cynical, they will like that because that means they will win the 2024 election in a canter because people blame Joe Biden. So that, I'll tell you right now, that is going to be, over the next 4 years, the biggest moment. When the debt ceiling is hit, probably around 2023, then what are the Republicans who by that stage will own Congress? What are they going to do? And I think in 10 years' time, when we look back at this period, that will be the pivotal moment to determine whether America really goes off the rails. So and that's a little way away at the moment, but things will build towards that.
In many ways, the same way they did, like Obama, his last 6 years, he basically couldn't get much done either because he didn't have the House or the Senate.
Totally. Basically, Joe Biden has 3 bills because he's not going to be able to get rid of the filibuster. The filibuster means you need 60 votes to get anything through the Senate. He's not going to get rid of the filibuster because there are some conservative Democrats who won't let him get rid of it, which means that he can't pass anything, even though he holds the Senate, unless he can do it with 50 votes. There's one bill every year that allows you to pass things with 50 votes. It's a process called reconciliation, which when you pass the budget, you can add stuff to it. Now, there's all kinds of conditions. I won't bore you with it. But basically, they can do one this year, they can do one next year, and in anticipation of the election at the end of 2022, they can do one for the year after. They can pass a budget ahead of time. And if they can't get stuff done in those 3 bills, they're screwed. If they can do enough to win people over, then maybe he might have another breath after the 2022 elections. But it's going to be interesting. Those 3 bills are what it's going to be all about. Next 2 years, about those 3 bills. I'll tell you that right now.
And famously, Obama basically just did the Affordable Care Act, and then he ran out of time.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's right.
On to more important things. Your Instagram, Baby Got Snack, has not been updated since 2018. Do you want to fill people in on this, and when is it coming back?
Like Baby Got Snack is my pride and joy. My Instagram account. For those who know me in the real world, all I do is eat snacks. That is my love.
We had a snack table on all the Chaser shows, and it was always overflowing with whatever we could find at the weird import Asian supermarkets and convenience stores. It was a bevy of delights. It was a buffet.
Exactly. And so I thought to myself, I really should share this important resource with the wider community. So I started once to twice a week reviewing my favorite snack at that particular moment on Baby Got Snack on Instagram. And it has been, when we got into election mode, which was after 2018, and we were doing 2 shows a week and just constantly working with Play America, I just didn't have the time to give the snack world the attention it needed. And so I didn't update it. But this year, only 1 show a week. We're cruising a little bit. So Snack's coming back. And the next week or 2, I will bring back Baby Got Snack.
All right. I'll give you my top three, and I want your reactions, and then want your top three or however many you can manage. So these are my favorites at the moment. I've got the cucumber Pringles. Have you had these?
Yes,
They're incredible.
have had them. That's very solid. I agree. That the taste is actually, that's one of those rare examples where not only does it taste like it says, but it also tastes nice. Because usually when they taste like they say, that's revolting. But in this case, it's pretty good. I agree.
Second, I don't know if you've seen these. They're from Korea. They're very hard to find. They're turtle cinnamon chips. Have you seen these?
I have not seen them.
If you see these, there's a picture of like a turtle reading a newspaper or something on the cover. It's very weird. They're like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the breakfast cereal. They're like a biscuit chip thing. Incredible. Okay. And my favorite at the moment is the curry twisties from Malaysia. Have you seen these?
I have seen the curry twisties. I haven't had them yet.
They're very good.
That's something for me to get. Okay, well look, you've given me two things to review for Baby Got Snack right there. So I'm especially going to get the details for the turtle cinnamon chips because I haven't heard of them. So I'm going to need some help finding them.
Strathfield's good. Any Korean neighborhood's good.
My favorite at the moment it's not a new snack. This has been around for a long time, but just not available in Australia so much, is La Croix mineral water. Have you had much La Croix?
Oh, I've not seen it anywhere in Australia. Is it possible to get? Is it possible?
Yes. I am gonna advertise on your podcast, but for something that I get no money out of, and that is Redfern Convenience Store, if you're in Sydney.
Yes.
Is the place to go for La Croix. I'm addicted to it at the moment. I've actually subtly been in the podcast using different flavors of La Croix to drink every single time. It's
what's the best flavor? What's the top flavor do you recommend?
For me, passion fruit. I love the passion fruit La Croix.
Interesting.
Very, very good. But they're all winners, Dill. They really are. It's a great. Until I have the turtle chips, they are my favorite snack at the moment. So yeah. But I'm going to start off, I think, with the birthday cake Golden Gate Time, and they're revolting. Oh yeah. But they're just very funny. So I will start off with that. That'll be my first snack back. Birthday cake Golden Gate Time.
Oh my goodness. Sounds incredible. All right. We'll leave it there, Chaz. Thanks so much for your time. It's been great to catch up.
Anytime, Del.
And thanks. The hardest working man in show business, news business. I'm not sure. Always inspiring in terms of his dedication to work and lack of dedication to sleep, I have to say.
When you don't have talent, you got to get it done somehow, Dale.
Yeah. always got to work hard.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Chaz. Thanks again.